Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Monday, July 23. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. We begin with an update from the Vybz Kartel appeal case. The prosecution is insisting that the trial judge was right for not dismissing the jury when the matter of the bribery of a juror came up in the Vybz Kartel murder case. In the appeal court this morning, Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Jeremy Taylor continued to rip into the arguments made by lawyers for the appellants. Mr. Taylor told the court that it cannot be said the trial judge's failure to discharge the jury amounted to miscarriage of justice. He said there was nothing wrong with the procedure used by retired High Court Judge Justice Lennox Campbell. Justice Campbell decided to warn the jurors about their oath when the bribery matter was brought to his attention. Lawyers for the appellants have been arguing that the accused men were tried by a tainted jury. Kartel is appealing the life sentence imposed on him in 2014 for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams on August 16, 2011. Sean Campbell, Andre St. John, and Kahira Jones were also convicted for the murder. Days after a deadly shooting and the seizure of ammunition at Ambrook Lane, St. Andrew, a curfew has been imposed in the area. The curfew, which started yesterday, will continue until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The St. Andrew Central Police have been keeping a close watch on Ambrook Lane and the Hagley Park Road following the fatal shooting of an employee of China Harbour Engineering Company on July 13. A Chinese national involved in the Hagley Park Road Improvement Project was also shot. Investigators said an intergang dispute involving men from Ambrook Lane led to the attack. No one was arrested. The National Water Commission (NWC) is beginning to divert water from St. Catherine into St. Kingston and St. Andrew. This is part of plans to ease the supply shortage in the corporate area due to declining supply at the Hermitage Dam. The NWC has warned customers to prepare for nightly water lock-offs. NWC President Mark Barnett says the company will be using other methods to ensure customers in Kingston and St. Andrew are not severely affected. He says the NWC had planned to do the network modifications at a later date. It was, however, fast-forwarded to last weekend because of the rapid decline at the Hermitage Dam.
What we're looking at is a different system how we can gravity feed water out of the White Mall system. And this is now not the Portmore system, the White Mall system into the corporate area, which will allow us to move more water off the boulevard, Washington Boulevard that is, into the Constant Spring area.
PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips is chiding the government's management of the economy, insisting that the reality is different from what the government is saying.
There's no more talk of 5 and 4. What we're seeing is that they haven't been able to achieve 1.5 and 2. Prices, particularly energy prices and food prices, are galloping. The foreign exchange markets are showing instability again, and the dollar is moving for reasons that are unexplained.
Meanwhile, the People's National Party PNP said it's restructuring to target more young people. At the party's National Executive Council meeting, Dr. Phillips said a committee will review its group structures and roles in the party. He added that the political expectations of young people today are different from those of previous generations.
We will have to make ourselves attractive to the expectations and the modes of behavior of the coming generations, because we need them to become involved, because their energies are essential to fixing the problems that Jamaica faces today.
He said the review of the party's structures could become one of the most far-reaching decisions the party has made in recent times. TVJ News has been informed that the probe into the operations of the Kingston Public Hospital KPH morgue has been completed. The findings have reportedly been submitted to the Health Ministry. Our news center tried unsuccessfully to get a comment from Chairman of the Southeast Regional Health Authority, Philip Armstrong. The opposition People's National Party is once again calling for the government to start the South Coast Highway, which was promised 2 years ago. During a tour of St. Thomas recently, PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips said the highway is needed especially for farmers when moving crops out of the parish.
If not sugar, and let's say you're growing other crops, fruit, etc., you have to be able to move them to market. To move them to market undamaged requires better roads and better transport conditions for the farmers to operate with.
Dr. Phillips was also concerned about the seeming lack of action on the project.
We are saying that we want to see the work start, but we are also saying that a future People's National Party administration will revert to the original plan for a first-class road all the way from Kingston to Portland.
Farmers in Clarendon will soon have better roads to transport their produce. Agriculture Minister Alder Shaw said he left an $800 million budget at the Finance Ministry to repair farm roads. He was speaking at the Mango and Sorrel Festival on Friday in Rock River, Clarendon. Mr. Shaw added that as the new Minister of Agriculture, he will work with farmers to grow the local and export market. He said hotels and shops at the airports fail to sell local agricultural crops.
It cannot be that you're walking through Jamaican airport and everything you're going to see on the shelf is imported from abroad. That's no foolishness. That is foolishness. We cannot move from poverty to prosperity. If not even in our country, in our airport, and in our hotels, we can't sell what we produce in Jamaica. That can't work. And that is going to have to change.
With specialist nurses still leaving the country to take up more lucrative jobs overseas, there are mounting concerns about the ripple effects it could have on the delivery of healthcare in Jamaica. Deputy Chairman of LASCO, Peter Chin, says at least 20% of specialist nurses left the island in 2016. More in this report.
If they falter, Jamaica will falter too. That's the assertion from Deputy Chairman at LASCO, Peter Chin, while speaking at the annual NAJ's Nurses and Students Awards ceremony held recently at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. Mr. Chin also raised concerns about the quality of health care in Jamaica as nurses continue to migrate due to poor wages and poor working conditions.
I've heard President Johnson recently and past President Korfar lament on the crisis of migration, and the article underscored the depth of the crisis. This is how the review described the crisis, and I quote, "Over the past few years, there have been a massive movement of nurses away from Jamaica to the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. In fact, in 2016 alone, 200 of Jamaica's 1,000 specialized nurses left the country for jobs elsewhere."
Despite a 50% decrease in the number of nurses leaving the island, Mr. Chin said data showed that at least 20% of specialist nurses still leave Jamaica. And that is why he's urging the government to identify strategies that will improve working conditions for nurses across the island. Shamela Mitchell-Pullen, TVJ News.
In news overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump issued a furious all-caps challenge to the Iranian regime late Sunday night, warning that any threats to the United States would be met with unspecified dire consequences. More from the CNN.
Despite the regime's clear record of aggression, America and other countries have spent years straining to identify a political moderate. It's like an Iranian unicorn. The regime's revolutionary goals and willingness to commit violent acts haven't produced anyone to lead Iran that can be remotely called a moderate or a statesman. Some believe that President Rouhani and Foreign Minister Zarif fit that bill. The truth is, they're merely polished frontmen for the Ayatollah's international con artistry. Their nuclear deal didn't make them moderates, it made them wolves in sheep's clothing. Governments around the world worry that confronting the Islamic Republic harms the cause of moderates. But these so-called moderates within the regime are still violent, Islamic revolutionaries with an anti-America, anti-West agenda. You only have to take their own words for it.
And in sports, Sunshine Girl Hassana Williams led Excelsior High to victory in the inaugural AFNA Champion of Champions High School Netball competition on Saturday at the Leela Robinson Courts.
Excelsior High are the champions of the inaugural AFNA Champion of Champions netball competition after defeating Holmwood Technical 46-27 in the finals. The Eagles were led by the 18-year-old Sunshine Girl Hassana Williams, who shot 28 goals from 40 attempts. Williams was also supported by teammate Rokoya Douglas, who added 17 goals from 29 attempts. Shadeen Bartley was the best scorer for Holmwood Technical with 24 goals from 42 attempts. Christopher Smart, coach of Excelsior, says he was surprised by the margin of victory.
I am very elated at this moment, but I really have to give thumbs up to the girls. I think the girls really came out this evening, and to be honest with you, they even surprised me. I know Holmwood's a very good bunch. I have a very good coach in Miss Graham. But believe me, the Excelsior girl this evening, they came and they left everything out there on the court. I honestly expected to win this game, but that by that margin. But as I said, at the start of this competition, that Excelsior is 50% better than when they played in the All-Ireland final last year. And it was proven this afternoon by the margin of victory. These Excelsior girls, they are very dedicated, they are very disciplined.
My team is a young team. I thought they would have put up a better fight, however, but hats off to Excelsior. They did well. They have a more experienced team. They went out there and played, and today they are the winners. We came second. We are giving thanks.
Meanwhile, Christ Church Foundation defeated their fellow Barbadian school, Springer Memorial, 32-28 in taking third place. Member of the organizing committee of the Champion of Champions tournament, Kathy Harper Hall, says she's looking towards inviting schools from other countries in the next edition of the competition.
We are hoping that in the second edition, that Canada, the United States and Argentina, who are also members of the Americas region, will have teams to participate in the tournament, and the other Caribbean countries will be here. We should have had St. Vincent and the Grenadines here, for instance, and at the last minute they could no longer come. We are expecting that Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts, all the other Caribbean islands will come forward, and that will be bigger and better next year.
AFNA hopes to announce the host of the 2019 staging of the competition at the end of the summer. Trishana McGowan, TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.